This is Stronger Than My Father with Marcus Menace.
Welcome to another episode of Stronger Than My Father podcast. I am your host, Marcus Menace Sr. This podcast is designed to bring more of an awareness of fatherhood, and also our goal is to one day make fatherhood cool again. Hey, you guys, I can't do this by myself, so I have to thank my producer, Jim McCarthy, at jmvos.com. If you're in need of designing your own podcast, or if you want some information about hiring Jim to do some voiceover work, please reach out to Jim McCarthy at jmvos.com. Also, I'd like to thank one of my sponsors, Onyx Golf Apparel. I'm going to get that word right, Jim. Apparel. If you need some good golf hats, good golf shirts, please reach out to my friend Tony Nunn at onyxgolfapparel.com. I was actually wearing some of his apparel out in the rain playing golf Thursday like an idiot, but great golf clothing, apparel, material. Please reach out to him and tell him Marcus sent you. So let's go into my next podcast, Dealing with Fatherhood. Hey, my guest, good friend, the man who always wears a necktie. I have never seen him without a necktie, probably once or twice. And a fatherhood advocate, a friend, and a motivated speaker. I'd like to thank my friend, Mr. Al Felton, for coming on. Thanks, Al, for joining me.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's tell my audience a little bit about Al. Who is Al Felton? I know Alejandro's, but I was scared I was going to get that wrong.
So, you're fine.
So I want to make sure
Alejandro's, but I go by Al. In many forms, so that's fine.
Cool. Let's tell my audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, currently 35 years old. I've been here in Nashville. I have a lovely wife and 3 boys, an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 8-month-old, about to be a 9-month-old. I've been in education and serving people in the community pretty much all my life. It kind of started in elementary with me. My mom and my uncle was always caregivers for the community, and my uncle, who I assisted from the day I was born, he was blind, so he's been blind pretty much all of my life, and just always gave me and instilled in me helping people, assisting people of all different, forms, colors, anything. In education, I've been in general education. My heart is in special education. I have over 10 plus years in special education background. When I transitioned from education, I went into after school programs. And that's where I saw the real need of the social emotional learning for our kids today, our youth today, in the after school setting. So,
okay.
As being an educator, I've had the ability to educate in 4 different states. One of them that I do hold dear to my heart is during COVID. I still was able to make an impact. All the way from Nashville, Tennessee, I was able to be an educator in Boston, Massachusetts online.
Wow.
During COVID. I was assigned to work with a kid. He was 85% blind. So I was able to work with him online and transition him back into the school for the next school year. So that was something that was promising to me, and just to see the technology and still be able to make an impact during COVID was one of my kind of highlight of my education years.
Let me ask you this: get up on the mic just a little bit.
I got you.
Right, cool. Then kind of turn this way. Yeah.
Towards
me. Yeah.
Towards you.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
It's gonna get deep, man.
Okay. Let's get it.
I gotta get deep with you.
Okay.
First thing before we go into fatherhood, I want to ask this question. I always wanted to ask you this. Why did you have a special heart for helping special need kids? I know when you did when you was working here at the center, I asked you to help this one kid that was in special need. Why is that special in your heart? Before we go deep into fatherhood,
okay,
I want to answer that question first.
Okay, well, it'll be real brief for 2 things. One thing is, like I said, my background just raised, helping people. With my mom and my uncle, it was always someone in the special needs capacity.
Okay.
Whether it was autism, whether it was a disability. So that experience there, and my heart and my patience was there for it.
Okay.
And one of the things which I guess could kind of say a bittersweet motivator is I've been in a lot of environments where special needs kids were left out.
Okay.
They were left behind. And sometimes when you see individuals getting treated like that as a child, not an adult, I'm talking about a child, it's even motivated me. Like, okay, these the kids you guys don't want. I'm gonna take them.
Got it. I always want to ask you that question because, like I said, I know you said one of your dreams was do an after school program for special needs kids.
Yes, and that's still one of my dreams, and I'm still writing, and it's still in the works.
Hey, you make it happen, man, and I want to see that.
Okay.
Once you bring it to fruition, I want to see that because, I have a special needs son that's I love to death. My oldest son, MJ, who I got to give a shout out. He did help me today set up all this stuff.
Okay.
So MJ did a great job. I'm so proud of him.
MJ's a hard worker, man. MJ's a hard worker.
That's my oldest son, who I'm truly proud of and want to protect him. So we got to go into that too. That you may have to give me some therapy lessons on.
I got you.
You spoke at our fatherhood camp last year, and your story was moving. Tell my audience a little bit about your upbringing, your relationship with your father, and how did that shape you into the man that you are today?
Okay. When you did invited me out, and I don't know if I even mentioned this to you, that was one of my first times really opening up about my story.
Yeah.
I've always kept it to myself. I really wasn't a big fan of carrying that chip on my shoulder for people to be like, the first thing they know about me was I'm a fatherless child that grew up to where I am now, so I'm gonna have sympathy for him. So I never put that out first. That was one of the things. It took years for people to understand, like, oh wow, I never knew that about you. I would never see that about you. Shirt and tie each and every day. I never knew that about you. So, and that's kind of like what I reach out into the kids. Going into the answering your question, that's what I want the kids to see. I don't want them to see that you're going to use that as a scapegoat. You're going to use that as an excuse. You still, can make it.
Yeah.
Speaking to your kids that Saturday, I woke up that morning and was invited to speak at Mount Bethel Missionary Baptist Church.
Okay.
For Father's Day. It was Father's Day weekend.
Yeah.
And I poured into a little bit more, and I talk about the story of this 5-year-old kid that when he met his dad at 5 years old for the first time ever. And the dad saw him. The dad, told him, hey, we finna make things right. I want to spend some time with you. I'm finna go to Walmart. I'm finna come back. We're gonna eat while I'm at Walmart. Make a list of things you need. So me and my mom, we make, underwear, toys and, different things like that. And took the list, and he was like, be back. And I think I waited at that door for probably about 8 hours. And he never showed back up. Never came back. And I know when people hear 5 years old, you're young, but those who have kids, think about your kid at 5 years old, how much they've soaked up, how much impact you make at them when they're 5 years old. Didn't see him again until around 8. He stopped by, we shook hands, and I didn't see him again until I was 17.
So you saying from 9?
Yes, from 8 to 17. I didn't know communication, no anything.
So when you saw him at 17, were you just like ready to lash out, or were you more like, I'm just happy that you? Because I'm gonna tell you me, I'm gonna lash out. I don't know. I'm just being honest with you. I'm grabbing somebody.
Right. No, I understand.
I ain't seen you in that long, and then you come back, just kind of like the Will Smith episode.
Oh, right.
Be mad.
Right. I'll cry every time I see the episode. That's my episode right there. And I will share that. And I said not always share my story, but definitely prepared now to share it more often. Around maybe a couple of months before I seen him, he did reach out to my mom.
Okay.
And he reached out to my mom, and he said, I want to see him. I just want to meet him. I want him to meet his brothers. I want him to meet all of that. So my mom was like, yeah. She was like, why not? My uncles who was in my life at the time raised me, probably how you just said, like, we grabbing. It's going to be something different. Like,
it ain't going to end well.
You think you're going to come up after this right before graduation and all, you think, like, no, we not going to have that. Me, honestly, personally, being truthful, here on this podcast, I had some words for him, and there was not going to be pretty at all. That was going to be very ugly. I've never been the type to always have a temper, but I do have one, and it was going to come out then. It was all types of things I want to say to him, I want to tell him, because I want him to feel the pain that I felt. I want him to feel that emptiness, that loneliness, that child by himself, being left in, different areas and situations alone, and have to just fight through. And I'm talking about not now, I'm talking about fighting through at, 11, 12, 13 years old. So I had some words for him. And rewind just a little bit, being brief, I started a year before then. I started getting heavy into the church.
Okay.
I went to the church. My uncle invited me. We've always went to church growing up, but he invited me. It was a gospel meeting. They do all week, like the revivals. We ate good on Sunday. So he was like, they feeding at the church. Come on down. So went on down, ate at the church. But I started really being into forgiveness and really being into God. And my mama asked me, if you don't want to meet him, you don't have to. It's totally up to you. And I said, yeah, I do. I definitely want to meet him. I don't know what God was doing at the moment. I don't know why, but for that moment, my dad walked through the door and I just said, hey, Dad. And we started talking and he took me to Memphis. I got to meet my brothers. He got excited about my graduation. He said, if I better get an invitation, he said, it better be delivered at my door. I don't want no secondhand. I said, I got you. You know, Father, I got you. Met some of my brothers I've never seen before ever in my life. Met some of them. Going towards graduation, printed out graduation invitations, gave him pictures, dropped off everything, and until this day, I have not seen him since.
Jim, I'm gonna tell you, cut it off. I'm mad now, man. Hold up, Al. He did not show up to your graduation.
Did not show up to my graduation. Did not show up to the party. Did not show up to school, and all these things I communicated. And I think starting at about 14 up until I got about 29, because at 30 I kind of stopped. I used to call him every day on Father's Day.
Wow, he wouldn't answer the phone?
Never got an answer from him.
Wow. So you haven't seen your father since you were 17. You're 35 now.
I haven't seen him. You double that, so it's kind of like I'm here now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't seen him since I was 17.
No, don't know his grandsons.
Don't know his grandsons. Don't know my wife.
Yeah, okay.
Honestly, don't know me really. You know, did come to the wedding. You know, did anything. You know, yeah.
Dang, you almost broke me down for that one, man. You almost broke me down because I didn't know that part. I remember you talking about some of it. The time you had a gap where you didn't see him anymore,
right?
And that's how do you handle that? And I know we have some more questions, but now you got me intrigued. How do you handle the anger and the pain and resentment for your father not being there now?
Well, I know this is cliche, but I have to say I have to give all the strength that I got from God.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing they wanted me to forgive him. And it was very hard to handle. You know, I believe the guy that you did the retreat with.
Yeah. Harold,
yeah. And I've asked him, you know, is it okay? Because as soon as I got there, I heard you told me his story. And I asked him, is it okay for me to use his story to kind of motivate the young men? And he said, you know, it felt like he had a hole in his heart.
Yeah.
And when he said that, it registered with me because, you know, living with, you know, a hole in your heart, it's a lot of things that you don't get that you need.
Yeah.
From a man. I had my uncles, true enough, but they have their own families.
Yeah.
When the lights go off, it's dark, I got to go home to my family, you know?
And that helps. Like, I struggle with that being a mentor. Like, when the boys meet, we have good times. But then we leave.
Yes.
And then we have a gap like this week, we don't meet. And I'm like, I want to be there every week with them. And I know I can't. Right. And that's what bothers me, because I'm like, am I really making an impact? Am I really there for you, knowing that I can't be there every day? I can't be there when the lights cut off. My boys get to see their dad every morning. Jordan and MJ get to see their dad. And so for you and your development, your father and your husband, who gave you the tools? Because most guys don't turn out to be Al.
No.
With the shirt and tie.
No.
Who's been through your experiences. Now we see the things the devastation of the fatherless that I was going to do my solo podcast today, the devastation. When I see the carjackings, when I see the smash and grabs now, I don't know. It could be some blacks, it could be white, it could be Hispanics. I'm not going to say it's all black. Right. Because I get destroyed for that. All right.
No, I understand.
But I will say, no true father is going to teach their son to do that.
No.
No one's going to teach a true father not going to teach their son to go steal.
Right.
So for you, first of all, I got to applaud you, because you darn near got me crying over here. Because I'm sad and I'm mad, because I put myself in your shoes to say, what would I do?
Right.
You know, if my father walked out of my life and then he have not been there for the times that he needs to see the offsprings, your kids and everything else. And I'm lucky. I'm so lucky. My dad knows his grandkids and stuff like that. But the question I need to ask, because my wife says sometimes you ramble through your questions, is Who gave you those fatherhood skills?
The tools you was talking
the tools that's helping you develop you to the man that you are now.
Other than God, I have to give 1, 2, 3, 4 many hats you probably can find in a hat store to my mom.
Yeah.
My mom didn't believe in none of that. You weren't coming home with bad grades because your father not in your life. I'm educated. Don't play with me.
I like that.
My mom, she didn't play that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she kept it real. She raised 3 boys, you know, by herself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if a problem came up on a Friday, Saturday, my mama made a way to fix it. I don't know how. We didn't ask a whole lot of questions because, you know, we was raised, you didn't stand grown people business.
Yeah.
So we didn't. So a lot of them tools came from her. And the honest thing that why I'm real passionate about helping these young men, I have to share my story, is because a lot of things is just I got on my own.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of books I picked up myself and read.
Mm-hmm.
My first job, you know, I went and got myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the work ethic was instilled in me from my uncles, but you know, going to college, you know, it was on me. Doing great in high school, you know, college application, a lot of that was just on me about what I did and reached out upon myself to get. No one, you know, guided me more to do it. And what you were saying, you made a good point that really stuck with me about society. It's becoming the new norm.
Yeah.
If I told people I wasn't going to college and my past, I was fatherless, it was the norm. So it wasn't no red flag like, oh, stop everything. Let's get this kid. It was like, we understand type deal. So a lot of the tools came from my mom, and a lot of tools, like I said, I just got it from myself, being self-motivated, being routine. I created myself my own routine. I woke myself up for school. When they had things and days where fathers would be there, I would invite my uncles and they would show up, but a lot of time it just was me. So I made it work. A lot of crying nights, man. A lot of lonely nights, man. And that's why I was going back. I was sharing my story to the kids. I told you that would happen to me, but when I was giving a story, I was just giving a story of a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, but one thing that really stuck with me that I heard a preacher say was that you're searching for a dad, but you have one. You have a father in heaven.
Yeah.
Who will never leave you, never forsake you. So, yes, you're going to miss your physical dad, but stay true to yourself and continue to get those tools. I made a lot of mistakes because I'm by myself. First time buying a car, you know, I'm with my uncle, but after fixing my car and just it's so many things I just did on my own, I'm just thinking like, wow, where would I be if I had a father, you know, in my life? So a lot of those tools I had to get, you know, from myself.
Well, one thing, I first of all applaud you as being a father. I take fatherhood serious. I grew up with a father, very close. But you're a father of 3 boys. So now you're beginning to break the fatherhood cycle.
Yes.
And I call the worst pandemic out here that no one's talking about.
Right.
The fatherless. It's a pandemic. And when you have 1 out of 4 kids growing up without a father in the home, now with you raising your boys, what are you seeing in yourself as a dad that's coming out while raising your boys now?
Okay.
What do you see coming out of you? Because like I said, you didn't have the example growing up. You have uncles, but you know, for me, I would just say this, and I don't get your credit. I do a lot of things my dad did for my boys. Haircuts and all that. Right. So they're not going to have any kind of weird haircuts.
Right.
Just because I already know my dad's against that. Even though people tell me, Mark, you're grown, you can do what you want to do, but my dad instilled something in me. But for you now, 3 boys, and they're watching their dad. What are you instilling in them, and what are you seeing in yourself now?
Okay. And one thing you just said that I love, you were saying the pandemic.
Yeah.
No one wants to talk about.
Nobody's talking about it.
I love to write. I love to write poetry outside of writing speeches and things like that, or writing anything for books and things like that. I love writing poetry. One poem I wrote was called It's a Privilege. It's not a privilege, it's a necessity. One thing that we have done today in society is you got your dad in your life, you need to be thankful. That's a privilege. So society looks at it as a privilege. But it's not a privilege, it's a necessity. So the more we treat it like a privilege, the more the 1 in 4 could go into 1 to 5.
Wow.
I mean, I'm 1 into 3, could go lower. So I always preach that it's not a privilege, it's a necessity. For me, growing up with my boys, I think when my son started getting, I ranked like 3. And they was 2, I had 2 under 2. It really started hitting me like a lot of things, anything from, bath time to, getting ready for school in the morning to, dealing with my son, getting bullied on the bus or anything like that at 5 years old. It started hitting me, and I'll be honest, a lot of trauma started coming back. Because I'm be like, here I am ready to change my whole life, change work, change my everything for this kid because he's mine. I feel that. So it hurt me. Why my dad didn't feel like that towards me? What did I do wrong? What kind of child was I that he ran from this intentionally, had the opportunity to come and ran from it. So a lot of that motivated me to be the father that I did not have.
Wow.
And it's not perfect. I know a lot of fear. Yeah. And I will talk about that. I know you got some more questions, but a lot of it is fear for a lot of fathers. They don't know what to do because I just didn't know what to do. So I made myself pick up a book. It's a book called, when I was working in Illinois, one of the vice principals gave to me, and I read during the time before I had kids. And it was called Conversations That I Never Had with My Father. And it talked about a lot of those conversations you didn't have with your father that you needed to have that you missed out on. And a very great read. And I just started looking out to other dads, just, seeing what they did, reaching out to people that had families, even some of the people that, were still on the fence of, do I need to want to be in my kid's life? What's holding you back? So it won't hold me back, what I'm saying? Because I can't ask my actual father. That was a question I really would love to ask him, that I still would love to ask him if I seen him to this day. What made you leave? What was the whole reason, behind it?
Wow.
So
that's tough, man, because I never think trauma would come back. For me, it's just, I think, okay, daddy did this, so I guess I need to do that. And there's things now that I, with technology the way it is, we didn't have the technology we had back in the day that we have now.
Right.
So we didn't have the cell phones because daddy probably wouldn't let us have no cell phone. Right. I ain't give MJ a cell phone till he just started high school.
We had, the closest you got, you had a phone in your room. A landline in your room.
Yeah.
They got you in high school.
Mom would say, don't have no girls calling you after this time, so things has changed now, but everything is still centered around daddy. Mom is the spiritual, but dad was the one that says, okay, you got to be a good husband. And I want to ask you that too, not putting your hand on your wife, treating your wife like a queen. I only could do that because I seen daddy do it. And I said that at the fatherhood conference. I never put my hand on Toya. First of all, I may not live the next day, so I don't know how this story going in. So, if I hit her, then I probably need to leave because it ain't gonna end well. But for you, how did not having a father help you become a good husband? You're a father of 3 boys. Your wife, you guys entrepreneurs and motivators. What helped you become a great? How many years you been married now?
We just celebrated 9 in July. 9 years married. 9 years. Been together, I think 12, 13 all together. Yep.
So what helped you? Because you have to lead the family. So what helps Al lead his family by not having a father? What helps you lead your family now?
Well, first of all, I understood what my mom didn't have. Okay. And if she had a father, a man there, what it would look like. Yeah. My mom always gave me respect for women. My mama always taught me things that she could teach me, cleaning up. I'm a neat freak. Most guys not, but I guess me, I am. Man, I cleaned up, got up this morning, cleaned before I came. It got to be clean. That's just me. So it made me want to, when I get a wife and she is the mother of my kids, I don't want her to experience what my mother experienced.
Okay, got it.
I don't want her to experience me leaving. I'm gonna take a year out from the family. I'll be back type deal, because we see it all the time. I didn't want that for my wife because at the same time, I seen my mama go through that. I seen my mama struggle paycheck to paycheck. I seen us have men problems where we needed a man right then in the moment, and my mama wasn't equipped. She's a woman. It was very hard. She gave me the best she could, but couldn't give me all. So that's why I always tell people, my mama did her best to raise me to be the man she could never be.
Man, that's deep. Now, as we get close to wrapping this up, the statistics are alarming. We both know that.
Oh, very, very.
You're a motivator. What can society do to begin? I don't think we'll ever break the fatherless cycle. I don't think it ever happened. I think you just gonna get some men who's gonna decide I'm not gonna live that way.
Right.
I think it's gonna, because I almost quit all this, man. Yeah. God, you got me tearing up, dude. Hey, you got me too teared up today, man. Your story is killing me. But how can we begin to start breaking the fatherhood cycle? You're beginning to do it. You're doing it now.
Right.
Raising 3 boys. That you're hoping to be good husbands, good fathers one day.
Yes.
From all your experience in working at after schools and the things you've done, what do you think we should do now to begin, start breaking? What can society do to break the fatherhood cycle?
2 things. The first one's going to be you. The first one is going to be, Homo. The second one, I know how you like to. We're going to press it. We're going to press hard. We may make people mad. I understand that, but I want everybody to really understand my vision. The first thing that we do have to do is we have to let people know, like, it's a necessity. It's not a privilege. We have to show the outcomes of what good dads look like. We have to start, where's the root of the problem? Is it resources for our men? Well, like, what is the root of it? We have to reach out and teach these single mother homes that we're already doing to really figure out where is the disconnect. Like, why? And to me, that's a smaller portion, because I feel like that ball has already been rolling. Especially like things that you do, it's already rolling. The biggest thing that I've noticed from all these years and just research is that we need now to start reaching out to those fathers that want to be there. I feel like a lot of fathers that I run into that want to be there with those kids don't have the resources because they didn't have their father. And I love all of the programs that we have for fathers' kids. I love the programs that we have. One thing I do love, and I've seen you do it, is also bring in other fathers. And when you bring those in, there's a lot of fathers that we always going to have questions on how to raise kids. What can we do better? How can we do this in education? I feel like we could really break that cycle if we really motivating the guys that are there, because you have some guys that start for 5, 6, 7 years and then they leave. And middle school to me is one of the, from all my education after school program, middle school is when kids need you the most. Wow. And that a lot of those statistics you're talking about, a lot of kids that don't have their father in their life, they're middle schoolers. So when you see a dad that is trying, we have to definitely connect more and have more resources for them to help them out, because if they get scared, most people logically get scared, they're going to run. When they get that fear that I'm not doing the best, we run. We hear it all the times. When I've spoken to men that's imprisoned, those was a lot of their answers. So they ain't from Felton, they ain't from me. It's just from these men that have been in prison. They got scared. They picked up the bottle or they picked up drugs because they feel like they was incompetent, and they ran. So they wanted to be there, but they feel like with their circumstances, they just couldn't. It's better if we hear it all the time. It's better. It was, I left for y'all. I left because it was better for you. You didn't want to see me like this. So a lot of them, they left. They didn't have them resources. So we just have to keep motivating. We have to encourage the fathers, that we have. It's a poem that's called, 8 men thoroughly immersed. That we always say in good spirit is far better than 80. So our number is small, but we can increase that number and keep it strong, because that number can't go any lower. No, because man. It's already it's already scarce out here. But that's just real brief. That was the 2 things. Let's find the problem. Continue to reach out to these homes that are fatherless. But we have to motivate dads. We got to motivate fathers. Every time I go into my son's school, I see a father, white, black, Chinese, anything. Hey, how's it going? I'm always having a conversation with them. I always want them to feel I'm part of the village you need. I want you to be part of the village that I need. I don't want to see a guy that's walking with his kids. Oh, he good. He don't need anything. You never know what kind of advice that he can need. Before I had kids, your kids was older than mine, so I learned a lot from you as a father.
I appreciate that.
And how you handle things like that.
Hope you can get nothing bad from me, man. I don't be playing with my boys, man. I don't play with my boys. I wanted, the thing for me the most was I wanted to make my dad proud of me. I want him to see that his hard work didn't go in vain. Right. Of what he did for me and, my 2 brothers. So when he sees his grandkids, he's seeing what he's done for us. And that's the thing that I hate that your father hasn't seen. Now, when my boys was born, Toya grew up without a father. But I told her, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, I said, you have a moral obligation to let your dad know that you have a grandchild. He has a grandson. Now, if he doesn't have a relationship, I care less about that. But he needs to know. And so she wrote a letter to her dad and told him. And like I said, he sends Jordan's a card, sent MJ a card. Was here for MJ's christening.
Oh, wow.
So her relationship with her dad is not the best, but at least she's trying.
Right.
But for you, as we wrap this up, if you got a chance to see your dad, what would you tell him? If you sat down one-to-one, kind of like that Kobe and Shaq interview,
right.
You could look him dead in the eye, what would you tell your dad?
I would just ask him why. I really would like for him to do more of the talking to me. Of course, we would talk about what I've done and different things like that, but I would like to know why and what's next. If we do get to that opportunity, I want to discuss what's next, because you could come in and see what all I got going and meet my kids, and then I never see you for another 30 years, another 15, 20 years. That's not going to do good for anyone. So why and what's next?
Wow. Well, one thing I have to say is that I'm proud of you as a man, motivator, entrepreneur. I'm proud of you. And having 3 boys, and you're finding a way to break the fatherhood cycle, I have to applaud you for that.
Well, thank you.
I can't. I mean, you better than me.
Right. And it is sad sometimes, because some kids I see don't make it.
No.
A lot of kids don't, and that's one of the reasons why I do wear the shirt and tie every time. That's how I feel. That's my comfort zone. You know that. But I want to show them. Any profession I'm in, you can be whatever you need to be, but let it fuel you. Let it fuel that burning desire. I was going to college, and I'll share this real quick. My mom had a choice to make. I was going to college. I needed some things. They was around, so many $100 I needed. And my mom had a decision to make. Either she was going to put the money she needed towards rent, or she was going to put that money towards, getting me to school, getting me to college.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "You going to school if that's what you want to do. You going anyways. You going. I handle the rest." And I told myself I would. That motivated me right there. To when I get off to school, I'm bringing her back a degree. It ain't had nothing to do with this, and I got my professionalism from in school, but I was bringing her back a degree, because the sacrifice she made, it couldn't go down in vain. It couldn't, man.
That's deep. You bring her back a degree, and you did it, man. That's deep. God, how we could talk for a long time. The shirt and tie. Let me ask that before we wrap this up. Who motivates you to wear? Because I ain't know anywhere I'm gonna wear a shirt and tie every day. I probably ain't wore a tie. I don't know when.
It actually started from an actually funny story. My uncle, Sundays and Wednesdays, and if you was with him, you went to church.
Okay.
So when you went to church, he always had this thing where you got to look nice to go to church. So we would be in jeans, t-shirt, tennis shoes.
Yeah.
He'll tell you, okay, put this shirt and tie on. We got jeans, t-shirt. It could be a blue tie. You got on yellow and red shoes. He put this shirt tie on. You're gonna wear that. So I just got comfortable, wearing those. I used to tie the tie for my uncle that's blind. He used to always keep his ties tied. So I used to always tie for him. And then I just started wearing it everywhere. Every time I did something, every Sunday I always wore a shirt and tie. And I started working into the school. I've never really stepped into a school system, without a shirt and tie. I wore jeans, I think, one time in Illinois, and if I had a school shirt, I always throw it on top of the shirt and tie. But I always wanted that it was a respect thing. I wanted, for one of the biggest reasons, I want the kids to be like, it takes a little bit to put on a shirt and tie each and every day.
It takes a lot.
It takes a lot, but I want to show the kids, like, this is what I'm doing. This is my respect for you. I ain't coming in here any kind of way. My mind is not finna be any kind of way. I'm not finna do anything when I'm here with you. And I tell the kids that I get up early morning to do this. I'm ironing, I'm pressing. When I come, that's the respect I have for you, to demand that same respect, and they respect that. They respect that. They waiting on me. You come here without a shirt and tie, we gonna clown you. I know you better get them books together, because it's gonna be a long day before I come here without a shirt and tie. And I give away a lot of shirt and ties. I have a lot at home, and I love giving away a shirt and tie to someone need one.
I think when you came to camp last year, the first time, probably 1 or 2 times, I've never seen you without a shirt and tie.
Yep.
I never seen you, and you hold to that. Me, I'm the total opposite. Total opposite. I ain't doing it, man.
Right.
But I respect that, and I think that's why I'm so thankful you had the time to come record a podcast with me, because your story is amazing. I had to applaud you as a dad, because you're there for your children, and I believe in your heart. Even though you didn't have your father, you didn't let that circumstances define who you are as a man. So, what can followers, number one, hire you to speak? Y'all need to hire Al to speak. You know what, Jim? I wish Al would have took my spot at the father conference. He would have done a better job than me, man. Because we went through it.
Right.
I'm the total opposite.
Right.
I ain't go through none of that stuff.
Right.
But I think why I record these podcasts is that I want people to know this stuff is serious.
Yes. You
was able to find a way to break the cycle, and you have 3 boys that's gonna watch you see how you treat your wife. Mm-hmm. You ain't even gotta teach them nothing. They're just gonna watch. This is what Daddy did. So I applaud you. So where can people find you, follow you, and hire you to speak?
I'm on Facebook, Alejandro's Felton. If you type in Al Felton, probably gonna put me up still. I'm on Instagram at One More. That is my initiative, One More, and the chant that goes with it is I am one more. And the reason behind that is if we can just get one more individual or one more you to take a step at success, that society will be another better place.
Well, man, I have to applaud and thank you for your time. I know you're busy.
Thank you, man. No
you got
problem,
new baby, new baby boy.
Rocked him before I came.
Wow, man, I appreciate you coming, man.
No
I'm
problem,
serious.
man.
You don't know how much your story just touched my life.
Man, thank you for having me, man.
I'm dead serious. It moved me. It touched my life, and I'm proud. I would have never known us working together. That was your story, though. I would have never thought that. So you've really touched my life. When we do the fatherhood roundtable, I'm definitely bringing you back for that.
Bring me back.
I want you to stir these dads up. That's probably gonna be the most time where I get people just rocking about fatherhood, man. Because I want to keep pushing this. So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, you guys, if you like what you hear today from this episode of Strong My Father podcast, please click the subscribe button and follow us on all of our social media platforms so we can continue to bring you content that's going to inspire you, help you, and we're going to make fatherhood cool again. Thank you so much, Jim McCarthy, for producing another great podcast. Reach him at jmvos.com for podcast information. And if you want him to do some great voiceover work for you, hire Jim. Thank you so much again. God bless you. We see you on another episode. Peace.